Yeah, well, after looking at both games and seeing things, I caution everybody on two things. We did some things really well. We did some things really poorly, to be honest with you. But I was pleased from the first two games and what I saw. And it's been a unique season, as we all know, and I think our players have handled all the controversy and all the distractions about as well as you could handle it. We've rallied together. The togetherness of our team, the amount of bench strength that we've shown, the assists, 53 assists and 60 baskets shows that we're really playing together as a team. I thought we played very well for most of that Notre Dame game, even though we didn't finish quite as well. But we mixed a lot of guys up over the first two games, and we got some play. Aaron and Joey were pretty solid both games. Gabe, Rocket, Malik, Foster was very, very good that first game and played okay the second game. I still think you're going to see a little more to Marty and Julius. Julius played pretty well, and Malik and Thomas Thomas Kithier and Marcus have been very solid. So I think we're off to a good start. But what you don't know is, number one, how was Duke? How was Eastern Michigan? You saw Oakland last night. They were, coming off 14 days. You just never know how everybody's going to respond. And that's where some programs are talking about the COVID or saying when they had it. Some people aren't. So, was Notre Dame, did they have a couple guys that had been out? I don't know those things. So I want to caution everybody to say this. This is going to be a 6-7 game, really until we get a good feel for not only our team, but the teams around us. And yet, getting off to a 2-0 start, I think, was big for us. As far as Duke goes, we're excited to play Duke. There's no secrets that I've not had a lot of success against them, but they've just about always been very good games. And to be very perfectly frank, they've had a very good team 90% of the time we played them. It certainly is different Champions Classic day. Normally we're playing in those neutral sites. This time we're going to Cameron, but I think it's the right thing to do. I have very much confidence in the way Duke handles their business as far as the COVID situation, and I have very good feel on the protocol that we have here at Michigan State. And so we have to learn to adjust. It's different because it's a different year. It'll be different playing at Cameron without fans, just like it's different for Notre Dame to play here without fans. I think we have two of the best basketball fan base, student bases in the whole country, and it'll be different. But it's still Cameron, it's still Duke, and that's what we got to make sure we tell our players. In Duke, it's a very young and talented team, but unlike a lot of years, they do have some experience. The Goldwire kid played very well against us last year. So did Baker. He's back. Hurt is back. A guy that was looking to leave earlier. And Wendell Moore creates a lot of problems at a 6'5", athletic kid who's done very well. You add to that a talented freshman group, especially Jalen Johnson, who we recruited a little bit out of Milwaukee, and DJ Stewart out of Chicago, who, Johnson had 19 points, 19 rebounds in the first game, and Stewart had 24 points. So very effective players, very good players, along with some veterans, and of course, one of the more well-coached teams. So I think it's a perfect time for a matchup like this. What it'll tell us, I think it's too early. Again, the sample size isn't big enough yet, but it gives us a good example to play against good people and see where we are. Questions?
First question is from Chris Solari.
You kind of alluded to it. I kind of wanted to see, how did this all come about? How was the discussions to get this game at Duke? And also, how do you prepare your team for not only a new environment, but a completely empty environment?
Well, our guys are playing in front of an empty environment here. Most of our guys haven't played at Duke. So the environment's not going to change what it is here or what it is there, except that, it's Duke, and there's a mystique with Duke, and it's been earned, not given. And and hopefully that's, getting to be our place too. But, we're telling our players that, we got to go down there and worry more about Michigan State. Yeah, we're going to worry about Duke, but we got one game to watch them in. A lot of those new guys, we got to worry more about what we do and stay fundamentally sound in our cutouts, our rebounding, our not turning the ball over, our transition defense. So I'm not making a big deal. I'm not trying to change a lot of things. We're just going to go down there and play our best and see where the chips fall.
And what about the discussions that you guys had with you, Mike, and the staffs of moving this Champions Classic to a campus site?
Well, I give Kevin Polga a lot of credit for that. I should give him blame since we're going to Duke, but I think it's the right thing because, the ACC Challenge game that we're playing, it was on the road, but we were supposed to play in the Gavitt games at home. So we're trying to balance our schedule. And Duke, felt comfortable. I think Mike would have played up here too. But again, we're trying to balance that schedule. So it was definitely agreed upon, but I think KP did all the work and deserves a lot of the credit for not only our scheduling, but a lot of people's scheduling. He's done an incredible job over the years, and this was agreed upon by Mike and I. You know what? It's going to be good. We need to go on the road some. We're going to have to get used to that atmosphere and everything, and that's what we're going to do. So perfect, no issues, perfect situation.
Next question is from Larry Leach.
Hi, Larry.
DJ Stewart, he had 24 points in his debut, and he's from Chicago. Just thoughts on Eamon? Did you recruit him at all?
We looked at DJ, played for a coach that's a friend of ours over there, but he committed so early to Duke, and rightfully so. We did recruit Jalen Johnson a little harder and out of Milwaukee, but both players are very good players, and as you say, Stewart was exceptional in the first game, hit some threes, did some driving, was 10 for 18. That's a lot of shots for a freshman to take. Jalen Johnson, on the other hand, kind of like a miniature Magic. He distributed the ball, he rebounded the ball, he scored the ball, he hit a three. He's one of the more complete players I think they've had as far as being able to do a lot of different things, and we loved him in high school, and he's turning out to be every bit as good as I thought he was, and yet one game. We'll see how he does. Hopefully we can guard him a little better, and but both players are very good, but I think it's their veteran guys that you can't lose sight of, because I think defensively their veteran guys make them better.
Next question is from Audrey Dahlgren.
I was curious to ask some of the players this, but to be able to still play Duke in a year that's been very untraditional when it comes to non-conference schedule-wise, how important is that, and how nice is it to kind of have some bit of normalcy, still playing, a coveted team in a tournament that's as coveted as the Champions Classic?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. The Champions Classic has been something that we've been a part of now for 10 years, and I think it's very important to college basketball, but very important to Michigan State basketball. I mean, these are four programs that have been to a lot of Final Fours in the last 10 years, and thank God I think we lead in that area. So we've earned our right to be in this thing, but Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, I mean, they're all great, great programs, and I think it is good that we can play this game. I think it's good for college basketball. I think it's good for Michigan State and Duke basketball. And I think our players are excited to be able to play in something like this. And as you say, different setting, but keep them normalcy, and that's going to be very important for all of us.
And then how much weight has Malik Hall put on, like from a muscle standpoint from last year to this year? Because he looks a lot bigger. And then also, how important will that be for him going forward and what you're trying to do this year?
Well, I think that's a great point. And, believe it or not as much weight as muscle. Cut his body fat some, but he is stronger. He's starting to look like a miniature linebacker, and that's good for us because he's athletic. He can guard multiple positions. He can shoot the ball. He had some injuries early too, but he's starting to come back into shape, and I think Malik Hall is going to be, one of many keys for us, but I think he'll be at the point where he can guard some threes. He can guard some fours. We can do a lot of switching with him. So he's a valuable asset because, like an Aaron Henry, guys that are multi-dimensional, can cover a lot of positions, can play a lot of positions, I think are key. And because of his added strength and, as you say, his quickness is improved and everything, he can now guard guards along with guarding bigs because he's strong enough to guard a big and quick enough to guard a guard. And that's going to benefit us a lot. You're welcome.
Our next question is from Lindsey Huddleston.
Hey, Tom,
Hi,
staying
Lindsay.
with that theme on the Champions Classic, which always has that final 4 or 5, which of course brings out the NBA scouts in droves, which you're very used to. Just curious, is there a balance you have to strike with always preparing your team to compete for a national championship, but also cultivate those NBA opportunities that your guys get? Or is it one and the same? Competing for a national championship is the best preparation for these guys going to the NBA?
You know, Lindsay, I think it's both, and I think I'm aware of both. And I don't hide behind that. Sometimes I feel like I talk about the NBA too much, but you and I both know what every player's dream is. You know, what I'm trying to do is get that balance to make sure that winning a championship is just a hair more important at the time than getting to the NBA. And if you sell it that winning helps get you to where you want to go, then it's a good deal for both sides. And I think sometimes we're in this one and done where everybody's just coming to get to the NBA. And I really appreciate all my guys, from Jaren Jackson to Miles Bridges lately to Xavier and Cassius. They kept their eye on the prize and the goal, and yet they had their personal goals. And I strive that a lot, Lindsay, to have team goals and personal goals. And I'm hoping that if you're really good on your personal goals, it's going to help the team. And if you're really good on your team goals, it's going to help the person, because teams want people that come from winning programs. So even though there will be NBA scouts watching by the droves, as you said, they won't be there in person in this time, but they will be tuned into that TV. Tuesday night's a big night. It's always been a big night. As you know, when it's the 4 teams in the same place, it's probably the most watched game other than a Final Four. And I don't see this night being any different. And that's great for our program and our players.
Great. Thank you for that, Tom.
All right, Lindsay.
Next question is from Matt Charbonneau.
Tom, you referenced earlier your record against Duke, and it's one of those things people know about and talk about. When it comes to your players, do they pay any attention to that at all? I guess what I'm asking is it difficult when you're playing a team like Duke to not let them get all caught up in who the opponent is or what things in the past have gone like, and kind of focus on just this game? Is that tough to do, and does it change at all this year with the environment you're going to be going into?
Well, I thought Duke did an unbelievable job last year after we beat them the year before and coming back here and beating us here. And we're trying to look at the same thing. It should be a rivalry. And a rivalry is not a great rivalry unless, teams are balancing the wins and losses. There's been no secret. I don't hide behind it. They've gotten the best of us more often than not, but they've had pretty damn good teams too over those years. And I think a lot of times we're at neutral sites. We've actually played down there more than they've played here. But I don't think players get caught up in that as much. I don't think they worry about what happened. I told them, worry about what happened last year. We got punched in the mouth last year. And it's kind of our turn to repay the favor. And if you're a good team and a program as good as ours now, you shouldn't get caught up in the aura of Duke. You should respect them like you do Kansas and Kentucky and Carolina and teams like that. But you shouldn't get caught up in it. And I hope that I do a better job of that. I hope they do a better job of that.
And are you okay with it? Feels like everyone knows for big games, you get, whether it's football, basketball, you get really fired up for those big games. Do you encourage that from the guys, or not so much? Hey, Eastern's the same as Duke.
No. I'm more of a realist than that. I know there's bigger games than others. Coach talk, they all count one. Who's kidding who? I think players, coaches, media, everybody knows there's bigger games. I think the problem I've had over my career a little bit started with Michigan when I started here. You get so fired up and you get so there's almost hatred, and that's not healthy. Respect is healthy, and being fired up is really healthy. But I think still, and especially in the game of basketball, you've got to keep, somewhat of an even keel. And, I think we're mature enough now that we understand that. I've matured over my years. It's taken me a long time. I have a better feel for that. So I'm hoping we're really fired up. But I'm also hoping that we respect and don't fear our opponents and whoever we're playing.
Our next question is from Brendan at the Impact.
Hey, Coach. So obviously you talked about the rivalry between you guys and Duke, and the teams change over the years, but the two meetings prior to this upcoming game, the teams were fairly similar from that Elite Eight game to the game that was played last year. But this year, both teams are led by very different squads. So I'm just wondering, just from the early goings of what you've seen, how do you like how you guys match up against them right now?
Well, I do like the matchup. I think we match up just about at every position. I think Jalen Johnson's a heck of a player, and yet we've got enough bigs to I think, match him. I think our guards, I think Goldwire has been a thorn in our side. He's very, very good defensively, solid player. Stewart has played very well. Moore's been a guy that's been through the rivalry. Hurt is kind of an X-factor guy, and who was the other kid last year that really hurt us? So they've got some guys on that team that have hurt us in the past, but I think matching up wise, maybe we have a few more bigs and they have a couple more guards. They can go with 3 small guards at times, but I think we're athletic enough to deal with that. And so I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup, and maybe I think one of the better games on paper. In the first half of the year. Hopefully it'll turn out that way.
And a quick follow-up. Obviously, you're known for not being afraid to mix up the lineups, and we've seen you do that so far this year with a bunch of different guys getting in there involved. Do you expect to do the same thing against Duke?
I do. I expect to play 9 and 10 and leave 11 guys. And the reason is for that, I've stated earlier, number one, I think our depth is an advantage for us. But I think more importantly, in the big picture, and I'm looking at big picture guy now, the days of just trying to win a game are over. Trying to win a game and get better for the end of the year. And so in doing that, I think in this COVID season that we're in, unfortunately, you got to prepare for the worst at times. And having some depth is going to be very critical to a lot of teams as we all move forward. I don't want to be caught like Denver with no quarterback, So everybody's going to have to play a little bit, get their feet wet. And I love the way we've practiced. I love the camaraderie. I think, it's hard because some guys are only playing a couple minutes and some guys are playing more. But right now we've had a pretty good rotation. And, that'll always shrink up as the year goes along some. But this year it might not, just because of the situation. So I plan on keeping it the same. We'll play a lot of guys and see if we can wear some people down.
Thanks, Coach.
Our next question is from Kyle Austin.
Hey, Tom, a couple quick ones for you, if I might. First of all, with travel this year, are you guys keeping things the same, or are you doing day of or making any other adjustments?
No, we're going down tonight because the deal we have with Duke is the same that the teams have with us. We tested this morning. We'll test tonight when we get to Duke, and we'll test in the morning. And I think they got a very good system there, and we've got a good system. And I think so we will travel the night before the game. I think the biggest issues you have is the hotel and the servers and things like that. The more people that get involved, the more people. So we're trying to close that up the best we can. Tomorrow we will shoot at the arena. There's no shooting the night before the game. We'll shoot at the arena that day, and we'll play that night and fly right home. So, like I said, I like our protocol. I like what our university has done with that and our medical people, and feel very comfortable with it. And I feel very comfortable with Duke's, and I think that's why, Mike wanted to play this game too, is I think he feels comfortable with us. We feel comfortable with them. Let's play the game.
And then you've worn the mask now for 2 games coaching. How has that been, and have you been able to communicate the way you want to?
Awesome. You guys can't see what I'm saying. Media can't see what I'm saying. And most importantly, my mother can't see what I'm saying. So it's been absolutely awesome. I haven't really noticed it that big a deal, guys. It's like I said when I started the mask campaign, I've proven it that I wear it in public, I wear it in private when we're in our meetings, and I wear it coaching. And is there a little bit of a difference? Yeah, but I think, the people that like it the most are probably the referees and the people, maybe the players. But in all honesty, you can get your point across and you can talk and you can pull it down if you really have something to say. But I think I've kept it on. I've done a pretty good job, so I'll pat myself on the back. But it hasn't been that big of a issue. So people that act like it's a big issue to wear a mask, wake up. It's not that big of an issue. If we can do it while we're coaching, I've seen some leagues, referees are doing it. I think people in general should do it, and we get out of this pandemic and start moving forward.
Our next question is from Brendan Quinn.
With Duke not really having a traditional big lineup, traditional center, obviously Johnson's 6'9", but they're maybe a little bit smaller than in years past. I wonder this is a good time to lean into that look with Hauser at the 5 and Malik at the 4, and what you've thought of that so far this year.
Well, the beauty of our team, and first of all, congratulations getting your Christmas tree up a little early. That's impressive. But I would think that one of the strengths of our team is we could go real big. When I say real big with Markey and Marty, we can go small with, Joey and Malik. I think that's one of the advantages. We could even move Aaron to the 4 or Gabe, and I think that's an advantage. Where it's a little bit of a weakness for us is they probably got more numbers of guards, and that's where, the advantage of Malik being able to play the 3 some and being able to guard those kind of players. I think this is where our depth and our versatility helps us. It'll be interesting to see how it goes as the game goes on, to be honest with you. But I like the fact that we're multidimensional. And I think, you look in our league and we got about 3-4 teams that are huge inside. And, and then we play some teams that aren't. Playing Eastern Michigan that had a 6'8" center that could really handle the ball, gave us a chance to guard off the dribble. I think, Notre Dame had a 4-man who could really shoot the ball. So I think we've had a little bit of tests here, and I think that's going to help us as we move forward.
And neither of your first 2 games were particularly up-tempo. How do you feel about your transition defense without having really seen it?
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair question. I thought Eastern would, tried to run a little bit. I think our transition defense is something we're working on because I think Duke will. They don't run after made baskets, but I think they will run, and that's where Jalen Johnson is really good. He'll get a rebound and go with it, and so we're going to have to deal with a 6'9" center that's bringing the ball up some. But I think we spent time on it yesterday. We'll spend time on it today. I think we'll be ready for it, but I think transition defense and not giving up easy shots will be a big part of this team. I mean, they've got some shooters, but they don't have maybe the typical Duke shooters that are making threes from everywhere, and yet that's after a 1-game sample. So like I said, there's so much we don't know. I mean, we're going back and getting high school film, we're getting AAU film. That's the problem with this kind of a setup, but everybody's got to do the same thing. Now, for us, we have a few more veterans, and at least places they can get film. They don't have to go to AAU ball. We did, and we have, and I give my video guy, Drew, a lot of credit, my assistants. We think we're well prepared, but it's different than, as you say, when you see it on the court.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too, man. I'm a little disappointed. I got to get on my wife, get my Christmas tree up. I don't know what the hell she's doing.
Our next question comes from Ernie Boone. Ernie, you're muted.
So, can you hear me?
Now we can. I'm with you, Ernie. Me and you, man. I'm with you on that.
Tom, he had a lot of blocks on Saturday, and several of them came not from the guy guarding, but from help. Is that something you worked on, or is that just something the guys have decided they're going to do?
I think we are a very good help defensive team. You know, that's in our theory. We're not in the passing lanes team. We've always been a good, guard the gaps, help out on defense a little bit. And I thought most of the time we did it like Aaron did a couple times, and he didn't take chances. You know, I thought we were pretty solid because sometimes you take some chances and you go for blocks, and then they get offensive rebounds, and that hurts you. But I thought it was pretty calculated, pretty solid. It's going to be a different kind of team we're playing this time, a way more athletic team than Notre Dame. Probably doesn't shoot it as good as Notre Dame, but more athletic than Notre Dame was. So it'll be interesting to see how we handle that. We did have a lot of blocks, a lot more than I thought we'd have. I'm not sure that's part of our DNA. I hope we get a few, but I'm not sure we'll get that many.
Okay, our next question comes from Justin Rose.
Hey, Tommy, you interested in taking over the Lions?
Am I, you know what? I'm going to pray they get somebody really good in there, and I know it won't be me, and I really do. I pull for our teams. I feel bad for Matt and everybody there, but I think I've said this all along. It's the Michigan State rivalry. It's healthy for our state. Lions, Tigers, and Pistons and Red Wings, when they're good, it's healthy for our state. And big picture, I love our state. So go Lions. That's feel bad for Matt, but I'm hoping they find somebody that'll maybe help take it to another level.
Just watching the first two games, your team looks pretty good from my estimation. Are you ahead of schedule, at schedule, or behind schedule at this point?
It's a very good question, and I don't have a very good answer because I don't know where Eastern was. I don't know where, Eastern was missing a couple of their big guys, which I think hurt us a little bit, but we had a guard different, but I think it'll help us in the long run. But maybe it hurt their team, Notre Dame, I don't know what their situation is. They were a little more closed about what their situation was. But, most of the guys that played were guys we thought would play. But, were guys sick earlier? Were they not? Those are questions we don't know. So we not only have to figure out where we are, but it's hard to compare that because we don't know where they are. And that's why I said the sample size this year won't be 2 or 3 games. It'll be 6 or 7 games. And but I do like what I'm seeing out of my team. We're playing hard. We locked down defensively part of that time. Staying focused and maybe attention to detail as we get a lead in that. It's been a little bit of a problem for us. But part of that is, too, I'm playing so many guys. And like I said, I think that's going to benefit us in the long run, but it sometimes hurts you in the short run. And also realizing that, yes, we have some veterans, but when you got a Joey and you got a Josh that haven't played in a couple years, there's going to be, it's going to be a little roadkill to get us back on track a little bit. So we've got to just continue to move forward and realize that the culture of our program, we still got to be able to defend, we still got to be able to rebound, and we still got to be able to run. And I'd like to add, we got to do a better job of turnovers, and I've said it, so if somebody wants to rip me, you're right. It's something I haven't done a very good job of over the years. I think we did a pretty good job most of that Eastern game and a real good job most of the Notre Dame game. But if we're going to be a great team, I think we got to get those turnovers down to 10, 11, and be consistent with it. And when that starts happening, and yet understanding playing a lot of people isn't conducive to less turnovers, playing guys that haven't played a lot in a couple of years and wanting to get it all back in one game, those are all things I'm going to have to live with for a little bit. But I'm comfortable in my own skin on what I'm seeing and what I feel, and so it's gone pretty well. And after 2 games, I'm pleased with our team. That could change tomorrow night quickly.
Thanks, man.
And we'll wrap it up with a question from Rico Beard.
Hey, Tom, sorry if I jumped in late, so I'm sorry if you've been asked this question already, but do you feel
it's a very good question. I didn't think of it that way, but I think you're onto something there. What it's done is it's brought our team closer. When you look in a locker room, you say, "This is it. This is us." We got to bring energy. We got to bring some chants. We got to bring some cheering. We got to bring some togetherness. And I'm hoping that second semester we wake up around our country and learn how to handle this thing a little bit better than we've done. And if we do that, I think we'll get some fans back, and then it really becomes an advantage for us because we've had to deal with it without. We know we have one of the better home court advantages, although the Big Ten, there's a lot of teams with good ones. But I think it has helped our team come together, and I give our team a lot of credit. I really do. They've done an incredible job of maybe pulling for one another and cheerleading, and I give the NBA credit because showing them tape of LeBron doing it and different guys like that, if those guys can do it, we can do it. So I think, it's something, if we can get through it, Rico, I think it becomes an advantage for us because then you add students and then maybe all of us are on the same page. But in the meantime, we just got to keep doing our job.
Sure you won't be missing the Canton Crazies.
Won't be missing them, but then again, I guess in a little way I will be missing them because, me, I like playing in the atmospheres that are world renowned. And there's definitely, when you go to Kansas or Kentucky or Duke, to me, when you go to Michigan State or Purdue or some of these arenas around here, those are iconic things, and you want your players to get a chance to do that. So when I say I won't miss them, I'm probably lying. I will miss them because I think they do a great job there. But it makes it a little more level playing field, home and away. But you're still going to go to Duke. You're still at Cameron. And you got to play your best basketball to win.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
All right, that's going to wrap us up for today. Coach, appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks to all of you. And I don't know if you guys travel on this thing or not. Probably not, because I don't think anybody's allowed in there. But tune in, and hopefully we'll play well, and we'll talk to you when we get back. Thanks a lot, guys, ladies, everybody.